Fires one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
We're going early and we're going often today.
We're going as often as we can before you're back to training camp. Holy moly, the countdown's on.
I really like doing the in-person episodes, though. Like, it's nice to see your face across from here. I know we go usually like a year in between episodes in person, but it is nice when I can see you 2-3 weeks in a row.
I feel like it's cheating. People are used to us being in different studios and getting a culmination of all these different areas of the world, and now we're in the same studio and it's boring.
Well, if you're listening on the Apple or the Spotify version, you have no idea. But if you're watching on the video version, like, look at this. We got one angle, we got two, we got three, we got all the camera angles in here.
Yeah, and then if you want that extra angle, you got to pay extra.
For the Patreon page.
That's right. This is the OnlyFans.
Well, I got a great story to start us off for this week. I know last week we talked about the Watertown situation, how the trade came to be, how they made the offers for the Salisbury Steaks, the hotel rooms. We'll do it by the hour, by the day, and they finally got the deal done. But our Lord and Savior, Charlie Pence Jr., our general manager, our coach, our massage therapist, he only does everything. He's a mechanic for the team bus as well. He texted me the other day. He's like, Rich, this is urgent. We got to talk. I'll call you in 10 minutes. And usually when the coach tells you that or the GM tells you that, that's bad.
Yeah.
That means
you're like, all right, start packing my bags. Where am I going now?
Well, and I'm thinking immediately, I'm like, okay, what have I done recently that I need to apologize for? And then immediately tell him that I'll never do it again. I'm like, I haven't done anything. I've been quiet on social media. I just left Vancouver. I've been a good boy, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't punish me. So he calls me and he's like, all right, Ridge, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, dude. I'm sorry, but we traded you back to Motor City. We're going to be covering the cost of your new gear, so don't worry. You're not on the hook for that. We'll cover that. But we had to send you back. It was a good deal. And then he starts monologuing for about 10, 15 seconds. And at this point, I've just totally tuned out.
Yeah,
and
you hear nothing.
My heart has sunk. And I'm like, no. Please. I'm begging you.
I had everything scheduled. Everything was ready to go.
I'll do anything. Please. I want to be here. Don't do this to me. And he says, I'm kidding with you, man. I'm just yanking your chains. I actually called to get your stick order for the season.
So you're actually going to be dealing with a prank, mechanic, massage guy, head coach, general manager, and prankster.
Yes.
Perfect.
And the team therapist. Actually, this is another story as well. I texted Penzi the other day, which we'll get further into detail about this later.
For those who don't know, who's Penzi?
So Penzi is Charlie Pence Jr.
Okay.
So Charlie Pence Sr. is the former owner of the Delaware Thunder, who no longer exists. I think they went broke and they're done. Charlie Pence Jr. is our Lord and Savior, straight shooter, honest man, respectable man, who is my now new GM, who traded for me, coach, massage therapist, team mechanic. And then I texted him the other day. I was like, hey, man, I was actually looking into getting like some therapy. Is there any way like we have like a team like psychologist or anything?
Like physical therapy?
Mental
just
therapy. Talking
okay.
to a therapist.
Yep.
And he says, hold on, actually the therapist is right here. Let me get him for you. Pauses for a minute. See like the texting thing. He's like, hey, therapist here. What can I do for you? And I'm like, oh, hey, what's your name, man? He's like, oh, this is Penzi. I'm the therapist here as well. What can I do for you?
Saw that one coming. Yeah, perfect. So you unloaded on him, did you?
No, I did not unload on him.
No? Okay.
But no, he's just he's a hilarious guy, honorable guy, respectable guy, and I like. This is why I told you, like, he's a personal friend, and I'm excited to play for him.
Well, listen, and not to stray too far away, I want to talk about Penzi more in this whole situation, but the fact that you're seeking that out, it's becoming more and more popular, especially if you've watched Quarterback on Netflix, which is the where they follow Kirk Cousins from the Minnesota Vikings, Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs, and Marcus Mariota from the Atlanta Falcons. And Kirk Cousins goes and speaks with their therapist on a regular basis to make sure his head is right when he goes into the game. Like, he wants to make sure that he has everything out. He's focused on this, getting over the losses, focusing on the wins, and he said it's been extremely helpful for him. And it's crazy because I think back to an old movie called Tin Cup with Kevin Costner, where he ended up falling in love with his psychologist, and more players, after they saw his success, they're like, hey, would you mind sitting down with me? So this idea of being able to go for a therapy, emotional therapy, mental therapy, whatever you want to call it, has been around for a long time. And it's interesting to me that there are still a lot of athletes who are like, no, I'm good. Nope, it's not for me. It's going to do my job. When actually it could help your performance.
I think obviously like there's things that you and I have talked about off the show that like I've come to realize recently that maybe I do need a little bit of help. And especially when I had the biggest season of my life coming up, I have a brand new hip. There is reasonable doubt. People are believing that I wasn't a good goalie before. This hip surgery will have fixed that. Now there's no excuses. So I have everything on the line here. I've worked for this my entire life. I've been playing hockey since I was 4, goaltender since I was 10, going into my 4th year pro, second in North America. And I'm not going to let a little bit of adversity get in the way. Right? Like, God has blessed me with a free $20,000 surgery. It's gone overwhelmingly smooth.
Well, not free. The most of Canada paid for that. You're welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
tax
and
dollars,
and
yeah.
thank
You're
you
welcome.
to you, the listener, for paying for my surgery as well, sucker. But I have all these incredible things going for me, and I'm not going to let a little bit of adversity get in the way. I'm going to seek out the help. I'm going to get my mind straight. We still got about 6 weeks before the start of the regular season, and I'm going to have the best season of my life, and I'm not going to let anything else get in the way of it.
Good for you.
I saw a quote on TikTok the other day. Well, not a quote, like a motivational speech. It was become irreplaceable in life, whether it's relationships, if it's business, sports. Be irreplaceable. I'm going to replace you. Okay, well, with who? Who are you going to replace? I stop every dumping. I maintain possession. I make the saves when we need it. I'm bulletproof between the ears. I'm going to be making saves for the fellas. I'm kicking there every single night. Replace me. That's the goal, to get to that point. Obviously not there yet, because I need to get some seasoning under my belt, build some confidence, and prove to the coaching staff, to the fans, to my team that I can play. But that is the goal. Embrace that mentality of being irreplaceable.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of different ways of going about that. I mean, in any industry, really. I mean, if you can make yourself invaluable and they think, yeah, we could get rid of him, we could get someone else in there, but it's just not going to be the same and it won't be as productive, that's when they go, we just can't afford to let that person go. We just can't afford it.
And I know you wouldn't talk about it on the show, but I will talk about it. You had a morning show previously in the city of Winnipeg, number one morning show, raking in 100,000+ live people in one moment in time consecutively. You got shit canned. And then they couldn't replace you. They couldn't get the numbers to come back up. You got a new job at the studio you're at now with Energy 106, back on top of the city.
Yeah.
Replace me. Go ahead.
Yeah, and
I know you're going to be humble about it, but it's the facts.
Business decisions are hard, and when you start bringing emotion into it, it makes it even harder. But you look at it as a business decision, and that's their business, and this is my business, and we both move on with our own business.
Well, and I'm thankful for it too, because maybe if you didn't get canned, maybe we never would have been in touch. We never would have done the show together. All these other things. So God's just playing out His plan, chapter by chapter, and the book goes on.
There you go, man. If you believe in fate or not, here we are. Here we are, this tiny little speck and moment. Who knows how long it'll last or how long it'll go on for, but I'm enjoying it while I'm here, and that's really what I've been trying to do lately, is just kind of live presently, live in the moment. So same advice goes to you. Every single moment you're in that net, it's a new moment every single time.
Go early and you go often.
You go early and often. Have
another one if you can. I know one thing that we had penciled in for the notes, though, you wanted to talk about was gear for the season. Now, I mentioned...
Well, only because of your vlog. I mean, you talk about all the gear and all the stuff you're moving forward on. So not only am I curious about the gear, but your helmet scheme. What are you going with?
So for the helmet scheme, it's going to be the same mask I've been going with the last couple of years. It's the Bauer 960, for those that no goalie gear.
For the nerds?
For the nerds. It's going to be the Kurt Cobain 5, I guess, with the Nirvana theme. I told my painter this year, I said, we've done, it feels like anything and everything you can, from the smiley faces to the freestyle sketches of Kurt, everything in between. So what I want 2 in utero angels with these colors. The rest make it look good. I want a white base. Here's the chrome cage. I'm not going to do a white cage again because I used a white cage in college. It was a horrible season. And last year, obviously, was a bit of a train wreck. So forget the chrome or the white cage. We're going chrome moving forward. And that'll be the setup.
Is it chrome on the inside or it's on the outside?
Both sides.
Really, eh? Okay.
Both sides, yeah. So I found the white was harder to pick up the puck. I don't know why, but it just was. And then the chrome is easier, which doesn't make sense because the chrome is shiny. But it just works that way.
What's the rule in your league for cat eyes?
Use whatever you want.
Okay.
So you can use cat eye, you can use certified cat eye. Just in junior that you can't, but college you can.
Okay.
So that's the mask. Gear wise, I got to be careful on how much I say. I am being taken care of very nicely for sticks for the season, which is a big upgrade from the $60 sticks from Motor City last year.
Okay.
So that's nice. I got the custom G6 gear, new Warrior stuff. It's going to have Watertown logos on it.
Nice.
It's going to be really crispy and have a nice wolf on the pad. And how do I word this without getting myself in trouble? There may or may not be a new line of gear coming out next year. And I may or may not have an order for new gear, probably going in around October-ish, maybe before then. And I may or may not have it before Christmas.
Wow, so you're going to be the guinea pig. You're going to be debuting it.
I don't know. I don't know
when it comes in.
I don't know if any of that's going to happen, but if it does, and I do have new gear in November, December, it's probably not released yet.
Wow, it's like you're a professional or something.
Yep, getting the VIP treatment.
That's pretty cool. Now, does that worry you because it's not tried and tested yet?
No, I like the latest and greatest. I talked to the rep the other day. We were talking about like new specs that are for the new set for 2024, new features, new changes. Well, I like this. Well, I like that. It's going to be a custom order, but I know Kirk Allen, our Warrior rep, is going to take care of me and get me all dialed in. And
it
I'm really
blows
looking
me
good.
away how bloody light all of the goalie gear is now. Like, it's absolutely mind blowing. Like, it's lighter than the street hockey gear that I grew up with playing. And the guys that played net for me back in the 90s, I mean, they were hauling their stuff around, and that was a pain in the butt, man. Like, that gear was heavy. Those pads were heavy. Those chest protectors and blockers and gloves were heavy. Now, I mean, it's lighter than most player gear.
Agreed. You know, part of the problem too is at the pro level, you have 2 sets of gloves, you have extra everything. So even though the stuff's getting lighter, I'm still getting dinged for overweight at the airports every time I fly.
Of course.
Because then they don't understand that, hey, that the pads don't fit in the bag. But they're trying to charge for 2 pieces, then 3 pieces with the stick. But that's another side story for another day.
Speaking of gear, you should get yourself into a pair of Sheath underwear.
Yes.
That's the only gear. You won't be overweight at the airport. It's going to handle all of the luggage that you need to squeeze into there, and it is an absolute lifesaver. I mentioned it last week. If take it from a guy who spent 32 hours humping tarmac. I didn't tell the story, but I'll tell it to you briefly. How the Sheath underwear saved my life. I was loading my 115-pound St. Bernard into a crate, and she was on muscle relaxants. And when I tried to get her in, lifting her and putting her in, I squeezed on her bladder, and she peed all over me. And then I had to go take a 6-hour flight. And so Sheath underwear came in very handy because of the bamboo mesh. It dried quicker than everything else.
But you're still covered in piss.
I had 2 very understanding pet owners that I sat next to on the airplane that felt very bad for me, and we all suffered through the smell of dog urine for 6 hours. That is a true story. If you want to hear more about that, you can actually go and listen to the Wheeler After Dark podcast. But go and put in the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT, at Sheath Underwear.
Bizkit 69.
Bizkit 69 at Sheath Underwear, and get yourself a little extra discount, courtesy of the Slangin The Bizkit podcast.
Yeah, sling your rock into a nice set of Sheath underwear. There's a link in the video description if you're on the YouTube video version of the show. Just click that, and the code BIZKIT69 will get you that deal. If you're on Apple or Spotify, there's a link in the podcast notes. Pull over when safe to do so, and take advantage of the best pricing that Sheath Underwear have to offer. And thanks to them, as always, for sponsoring the show, because they've been with us since literally day 1 of the reboot.
Yep.
Season 2, now Season 3, Sheath Underwear is the real deal.
Yeah, officially into Season 3 now.
Speaking of real deal, we got a sponsorship for the team. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I think this is just too awesome not to, and I will unfortunately deal with the consequences later. So the Watertown Wolves, we have a sponsorship with Tim Hortons, I believe that is about to be finalized if it isn't already. And we, as the players, so we're going to have morning skate every day from 10 a.m. to 11:30, which is different from Motor City, where it's 11 to 12:30. So 10 to 11:30 every day, Monday to Friday. And we have a sponsorship with Tim Hortons. And usually they dump out all the extra, like bagels, breakfast sandwiches, donuts, coffee, everything at around like 10:30, 11. They're, instead of trashing it, they're just going to put it in a big old bag. Apparently one of the players has to go get it. It'll probably be me. I'll be riding the Boney in like half my gear, the top half off, the bottom half on, go through the drive-thru, get all the stuff back for the fellas. We'll have a nice little brekkie after morning skate.
A little taste of Canadian in upstate New York. That's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's nice to be taken care of, I think, more so than anything. Like people give me shit. They give guys in the FPHL shit for like, you're making $125 a week, you're making $175 a week. How can you do that? Well, the living's covered. They got sponsors like Tim Hortons bringing us bagels and fruit explosion muffins and all this kind of stuff, and it's just nice to feel taken care of, to feel like family, right? Or even at the sports bar, the Red Robin, Baskin Robbins, I think. I can't remember what they're called, but we have
Baskin Robbins is ice cream. Red Robin is an old convenience store that used to be in Western Canada.
Okay. Anyway, it's a place where you eat, basically, and they're doing a post game show for the Watertown Wolves in Watertown after every game, and they asked if I would help host it, and I said absolutely. But that's another place where I believe the guys are getting taken care of. We're getting compensated meals and all this kind of stuff just to help take care of the guys, because we're not making a lot of money. And like I said, it's just nice to be able to get just like that family vibe, like mom and pop would have you come home, you get a nice meal, nice shower, all this kind of stuff. It's just...
I just did a Google search of all the pubs in your area. You want to hear them all?
Yes.
You got Coleman's Corner, you got the Time Warp Tavern, you got Joe's Tavern, you got the 1869 Tavern, you got First Round, Pearl St. Pub, Full Circle Bar and Grill, Whistler's Tavern, Hitch and Post Tavern Inc., the Paddock Club, Spokes on the Square, Double Deuce, Bad Apple Saloon.
The Bad Apple Saloon.
Yeah, that one sounds good.
It sounds good.
Colsante's Tavern, Maggie's on the River, Garland City Beer Works, Applebee's Bar and Grill, The Hop Spot, Watertown, Buffalo Wild Wing, Craftsman Canteen. Any of those sound familiar?
I saw a tweet one time. This is before Apple had Twitter. Somebody had a problem with their laptop, and they tweeted at Applebee's and said, "There's no Apple Twitter, but you're the next closest thing." So Applebee's fixed my MacBook. I remember seeing that like 10 years ago.
Did they fix it?
I have no idea. Just before Elon took over.
Oh, then now X.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're tweeting on X. I don't get it.
X and Threads and all that kind of stuff. But no, it's just nice to have a nice, tight family feeling in Watertown and just to be taken care of.
Yeah, and you know what? More often than not, it's the little things. It's just the little extras, the little extra perks. And you're right. You do feel a little more taken care of rather than just, going through the turnstile and your number's been registered when you get to the rink.
Yeah, like you go to the rink, we got navy grip tape, not just generic white grip tape, and it's all set up, ready to go. We got like a nice little tube of, double bubble, right, just sitting right on the ping pong table for the guys to just pick at in between periods or, before practice or whatnot. Or, hey, fellas, if anybody's bringing down their lady, if you want to bring down, your significant other, or even if it's like a part-timer, we got a jersey for waiting ready to go, make her feel comfortable. We have all these things. Like it's just a nice feeling, this type of stuff.
Do you know how much access you're going to be able to have to the rink, to the locker room, setting up cameras? Like, do you have to get permission for that before you go ahead and do it? Have you talked to them about that?
I've talked about the camera stuff. I just told our GM, I said, I'm going to be very easygoing, just like in Motor City. Very respectful of the guys in the locker room. I will capture film outside of the locker room, and if anybody has a problem, the second there's a problem, we will clarify and we will fix it, because the number one goal is to make sure everybody's comfortable and it doesn't change the team chemistry, the locker room vibe in a negative way. In Motor City, I felt it helped, so that would be the goal again. As far as skating goes, because I'll be down, I think, on the 17th or the 18th, and after that we have ice every single day. So Penzi was telling me, he's like, you can skate anytime, all day long, anytime you want. Except for rookie camp. We got to do rookie camp because it makes us money. Then you can't skate, but before and after you can.
Now, it's interesting because I just finished watching an interview on the Rich Eisen show with Paul Mullen, who is the striker for Wrexham AFC. That's Rob McElhaney and Ryan Reynolds' soccer team over in Wales. And they talked to him a little bit about the whole Hollywood aspect of the soccer team now, or the football team, however you want to call it. And just said, was that interesting for you? And he goes, I'm just me, because I'm trying to be the most authentic version with the cameras around. It's a little bit different. Some guys love it. Some guys hate it. Some guys want nothing to do with it. Some guys want to be in front of the camera because they know it's good for their profile. He says, but it is definitely different having that kind of stuff around. And as long as you don't treat it like a distraction, it's just part of the gig. And so have you thought about presenting the team with, hey, guys, just so you know, there is opportunity. And if you don't want to be, let me know and I'll make sure I keep you off?
Not even that. I think the guys know. I think that just having like an iPhone in someone's face filming is significantly easier of a process than having like a big rig camera. Right? They're going to act a little bit more normal, or more casual, I should say. I think, like you said, keeping it authentic, not forcing things, and just letting it be. Right? Like it's a vlog. The vlog basically writes the story itself, like life does, as opposed to like in the summer where I'm trying to create a story out of nothing, essentially. So all that will be taken care of. Just make the guys feel comfortable. You get out what you put into it. So I think everything should be good. From what I've talked to a couple of guys, they all seem very, very excited.
Good.
I think we're gonna have a really, really we have a very stacked roster up front and a good group of guys.
Good.
So I'm very, very excited, to say the least.
It should have been. The countdown's on, man. Like I said, this is exciting, and you've already got the date. You know when you're going to be putting the pads on and jumping in the cage in preseason, and then after that, the world's your oyster, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, a lot of home games. Obviously, you're going to be coming out to a couple games at some point.
Yeah, so once you get there and get settled and we figure out what, where, who, why, and when, of course, Patreon members will have access to possibly winning a contest to come down and sitting in the stands with me and having a few wobblies and having a few hot dogs and watching some hockey. So hopefully it's a night on that you start on. And yeah, all the details will be figured out eventually. We don't have them right now, but best thing you can do is to sign up to be a Patreon member now, and then you're in. Then you know you're in.
Yeah, and the plan is basically, if you sign up to be a Patreon member, it starts at $5 a month, goes all the way up to, I believe, $50, and there's different perks from my trading cards from Motor City, Varberg, my college days, my junior days. All those are included at different price perks. Also, for the $20 a month members, you get the Slangin The Bizkit coffee mug, have your cup of joe first in the morning, or the sweater. And then the contest, obviously, like we mentioned, I would like to fly somebody in to come for that FPHL experience, whether it's cheering me on to open the gate, as we probably would expect on that night. You bring a sign, open that door, Ridgeon.
Yeah.
Or if it's for some godforsaken miracle, I'm starting that night to give that FPHL experience to one of the patron members. And again, there's a link in the video description if you want to sign up for that. But I'm excited to have you come down. I know my mom wants to come down to a game.
Well, my parents actually aren't too far from Watertown. They're just on the Quebec, New York, Ontario border, like right down there, like literally right on the border. So it wouldn't be crazy for me to go down for a visit and kill two birds with one stone.
Or getting two birds stoned at once.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that in Canada. Let me see how far I would drive.
Even Dr. Cutie Pie, my orthopedic surgeon who did my hip surgery. Obviously, he's asked that I keep his name and his face off the podcast. But remember, Prince Charming, couple inches off the bottom, a little bit darker hair than Prince Charming from Shrek,
Right.
but he lives not too far, and he said he would love to come down to a game sometime in October. So if you see a very, very good-looking man sitting by himself, and
That's
friends
me.
and family, it's very easy to confuse the two. I mean, Dave's late 20s, early 30s, ripped, chiseled, tatted up,
Right.
and so is Dr. Cutie Pie.
Yep. I'm a 2-hour drive door to door from my parents' place.
That's not too bad.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Looking forward to that. Sign up to be a Patreon member. And while you're on Patreon, go search Wheeler After Dark. It's another podcast that I do with my wife and my buddy, the Sad Jaguar, and that's out weekly as well. And it's not for the faint of heart. Warning, not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of very questionable material on there, which is why we're behind a paywall, FYI. But if you like that kind of humor, that's the podcast for you.
And if you're on the video version, like we said, we're in the Energy 106 studios. Obviously, Dave's morning show, Wheeler in the Morning, is the #1 rated morning show in the city of Winnipeg, which we are here in the beautiful prairies right now. And like I said, it's very nice to do these shows in the studio. We got the soundboarding, all this kind of stuff. If you're on the video version, it's a treat. If you're on the audio version, you're just going to have to...
Sounds pro. It sounds pro.
Yeah, I think, even if you're in the car, you can hear the differences from the normal episodes we do. It sounds legitimate. But a couple things I did want to talk about. Plan moving forward, obviously before I report to Watertown, is leaving on Wednesday to go to Hamilton for a month and we see him with Derek Bujan. I'm going to be living at his facility, as we've talked about, live in the upstairs attic, train and work out in the mornings.
I remember we did that last year. That's I love it, man. Like I said, it's very Rudy, very Rocky, very remind yourself why you're doing this.
I was thinking, more Rocky. I'm going to go in the jungle for 3 to 4 weeks.
Yep.
I'm going to forget about all the BS going on. I'm going to forget about all the outside noise and just biggest season of my life. We
Lift some logs.
Yeah, lift some weights, chuck them around, get the mobility up, start stopping some pucks, feel good about myself, and go perform and stop some rocks over the season. But also, you ever remember Stephen Keegan, former Toronto Maple Leafs goalie coach?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
We're going to see him for a week, which I'm very excited to go see him. He's incredibly knowledgeable and an incredible mentor as well, which I haven't seen him in a couple of years, so I'm really looking forward to that. I did also want to give a shout-out to, so obviously I'm out of Vancouver. There's a gentleman by the name of AdamJBell. He's a Vancouver YouTuber, vlogger. He's a real estate agent, does a lot of stuff just in the city, landscapes, geography, just kind of like hidden gems around the city. And so I met him in, I think, January, I met him in February. When I moved for hip surgery, his videos came up my YouTube recommendation, and I was like, oh, this guy kind of seems cool. And, he's got a lot of interesting info about Vancouver. So I reached out to him on Instagram, said, hey, man, let's go for coffee. We went for coffee. I think I told you we sat down at the waterfront for an hour, 2 hours, just sitting, shooting the shit. We've gone for lunch. We've hung out, 2 or 3 times, and that's it. I haven't really talked to him much since then. But let me tell you, what an absolute beauty of a guy. Obviously, some things have changed recently, to put it nicely. And between a little bit of a rock and a hard place, he had a spot on his couch for me to stay in Vancouver for the last 3-4 nights before I'd leave.
Well, yeah, you were kind of in between, from what I remember correctly, you were in between places and your flight and your lease and getting back to Winnipeg, and you were almost homeless on Hastings for a couple of days.
Yes,
is that accurate?
Essentially,
Okay.
I guess you could, by choice, more
Okay.
so, due to circumstances, shall we say, to put it very simply.
Okay.
But I remember calling Adam up at like 4 or 5 p.m. one day. I was like, dude, can I come stay at your place? Not a problem. Come on down. The couch is ready. We'll have dinner and we'll just chill. And came on down. I'd never been in his house before. Only hung out with him 2 or 3 times. I had no idea who his roommate was, and they just welcomed me into their beautiful spot in Kitsilano Beach and was there for 3 to 4 days. So
Kitts Beach is a nice spot too.
let me tell you, Fourth Avenue on a Saturday night. Some good-looking ladies out there.
Oh, is there ever? It amazes me because keep in mind, with my industry, with radio, that's a beauty part about being in a tight-knit industry where I've got people in the industry where I've maybe met once or maybe talked to once or 2, 3 times, whatever, or could be best friends or work together. I know that if I'm traveling through the country and I'm in a pinch, I know I can call that person. I got a couch to stay on. And it's amazing how YouTube has kind of become that tight-knit community as well. It's like, oh, I know you from YouTube. I'm a YouTuber as well. Absolutely. What do you need? You're in town. I got you. And I just love that. It's like not even a question asked. I know enough of your content. I can get a good grip on your moral fiber, and whatever you need, I can help you out with. And I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, and again, just what a great guy. I just can't say thank you enough to him. I know
Lifesaver.
he's not on the show, but yeah, he made life. How do I put this? It helped avoid a lot of problems. To put it nicely, there we go.
Well, how about this? How about you thank it by putting a link to his YouTube down in the podcast description.
Yeah. So if you want to check out Adam's videos, you want to learn a little more about Vancouver, see his real estate stuff. Maybe you're looking to buy a house or an apartment. If you're one of the
Millionaires that can afford it.
I was going to say, if you're one of those people, check out Adam's stuff, and you can absolutely do that. But Speaking of, I had a little story about a girl that I was seeing a couple of years ago, and I was just telling Wheeler about this. This girl, she was we were together for about a year and a half, 2 years. Really cool girl. I remember even I'm flying into Winnipeg. She'd be like, "Oh, do you need a ride?" "Yeah, sure thing." "What time?" 2 a.m. "Oh yeah, all right, I'll be there." She'd just show up, pick me up, take me back to my apartment. She'd have a key to my place. I remember one day I came back to the place, and I walk in the door, and my kitchen is just blown up with like a pierogi making factory. Like she's just making like 1,000 pierogies. And I walk in the door, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And it's like a scene out of like Shrek when like Donkey's building the fence. He's like, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm dividing up my half. I did half the work. I got half the booty. Now, hand me that big old boulder there. It looks like your head." Kind of the same thing. And so I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm making pierogies." I was like, "Why are you making pierogies?" She's like, "Well, I wanted you to have pierogies. So I'm making my grandma's recipe, and I got like 1,000 pierogies. I've probably done about an hour and a half. And then you have pierogies forever." So she literally filled my freezer with these double cheddar garlic pierogies. And just...
Word to the wise out there, if anyone has a girl pinching pierogies for them, don't let that girl go.
That's definitely one I think about. I'm not gonna lie, that's one I think about. I'm like, oh man, if I just could have stuck out a couple more problems or a couple more, just
the pierogies were worth it. We don't get along, but her pierogies are amazing.
The pierogies were amazing. She, on a serious note, she was an amazing person, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that's definitely a good girl. But
pierogi girl, hang on to pierogi girl.
Yeah, she. Careful with that one. On to some actual hockey news. So we got some news here as we round the second half of the show here. Your boy Miikka Kiprusoff is getting his number retired on March 2nd.
Pretty cool.
Versus the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I wonder if there'll be puke down the front of it.
Maybe Chad Kruger will come in.
I've told the story before. I'll recap it for those that are new to the podcast. But a buddy of mine had a cup of coffee with the Flames organization, and they were playing in Vancouver. And on the road trip, they ended up at the Roxy, which is like the de facto place to go when you're in Vancouver. And so the Flames went there in preseason, and sure enough, Chad Kroger was there, and he's a big hockey fan. And so him and Miikka Kiprusoff ended up having a few drinks, and then next thing you know, they end up at Kruger's estate just outside of the city, and they partied all night and played road hockey till the sun came up. And then when the team was down in the hotel lobby waiting for the bus to come pick them up, Kiprusoff was missing. And so one of the captains on the team decided to make a quick phone call, and Kiprusoff says, yeah, I'm just in the helicopter. I will be landing on the roof across the street from the hotel. I'll be right there. And so sure enough, all disheveled, half asleep, probably still a little bit in the bag, Kiprusoff shows up in the lobby, and everyone just can't believe you had a night, and told all the stories. And then the coach came by on the bus and put his hand on his shoulder and said, "Kipper, you okay?" He says, "Yeah, coach, I'm..."
Well, I just got to say, like...
Great goalie, by the way. Amazing goalie.
He strikes you as the kind of guy that just, drinks and parties all night and like nonstop. But like the consistency that he had, like night in, night out for year after year, they'd ride him for 65, 70 plus games, and he was always there. Never took a night off. Incredible goal. Towards the end, faded kind of a little bit, but you're getting played 75 games a night for 10 years straight. You're going to be burnt out eventually.
Yeah.
But what a goalie, and what a is there anybody more fit to have their number retired for the Calgary Flames than Miikka Kiprusoff right now?
No, I think it's perfect. I think the Flames are, they've been around since 79.
Atlanta Flames.
They're throwing stones at 50 years as a franchise. So yeah, I think they need a few more names up in the Ring of Honor.
They need a new rink first.
Yeah, well, that's happening. It's just not going to be built overnight. But yeah, by the start of the 27 season, I think is when they're going to be ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they got 4 more years of that Junior B locker room.
I was the promotional guy, the man in the stands for the Calgary Hitmen when I was in college, going to SAIT down 16th Avenue in Calgary and making my way to the Saddle Dome. And that was back late 90s, early 2000s. And even then, it was starting to show its spots. And so the fact that it's lasted an extra 20 years, if they can milk a couple more seasons out of it before that thing, like there was literally chunks of concrete falling off the building. Like they had to go and reinforce all that on the outside of the building. Like it's literally falling apart. So I don't know how they're going to squeeze a few more years out of it. They may have to go back to the old corral on the Stampede grounds. But man, oh man, that city is begging for a new rink. And it's amazing to me that for the amount of money and oil, and I know they had their issues when the Bow River swelled and damaged a lot of the Stampede grounds. It still blows me away that there weren't more people to step up and build a new rink a decade ago.
You think that they kept it because it's just such an iconic building? Like it is a sexy building. Saddle dome.
But keep in mind, I mean, the sexy, sure, but the fact that it is a saddle, and if you think of like a horse saddle, the way it's bowed in the middle, and there's other rinks, I think, over in Europe that have the same kind of design, it actually prevents them from getting a lot of concerts, like big name concerts that usually have something that comes down from the ceiling and needs to be hung from the rafters in the ceiling. They're not able to do that because it can't facilitate these concerts. And so Calgary, a city of 1.3, 1.4 million people, where people have tons of money, don't get these shows, and that's a piss off too. So, I mean, yeah, you need a new entertainment center.
Yeah, the Scandinavium in Gothenburg, Frölunda Indians, or the Frölunda hockey team, whatever they're called now, they had the exact same kind of saddle dome setup.
Amazing.
But I got a couple free agent signings for you, goaltending-wise. Quick rapid fire, what do you think? James Reimer to the Wings.
Man, the Wings are up and coming. I think Steve Yzerman is going to do the same thing he did in Tampa Bay. So in Stevie Y we trust, and whatever he does, he's got to have a rhyme or reason behind it, because the whole reason that the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cups that they did was because of Steve Yzerman. There was nobody else. He built that team and then left before they won their cups.
Is that a James Reimer pun? No rhyme or reason?
No rhyme or reason. There's a reason.
Yeah. Talbot to the Kings. Cam Talbot.
Yeah, I think that's just I think that's a money move. You know, keep somebody on the roster that's going to cost a little less.
Mackenzie Blackwood to the Sharks.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they got to do something on their back end. They're not going to be able to move the puck. So from what I understand from his stat sheet, he's a good puck handling goaltender, and they're going to need that because with Carlson going to Pittsburgh, they're going to need to move the puck out of their own end.
Big man too at 6'5". Korpisalo to the Sens. That's exciting.
The Sens have got to do. Listen, whatever their new ownership is, you got to dump some money into that team. You got to dump some money. I don't know if Korpisalov's your answer, but it's a step in the right direction.
We got Freddie Anderson, Antti Ranta, both staying in Carolina. We got Tristan Jarry staying in Pittsburgh, but Alex Nedeljkovic, guy kind of got rented to Detroit. He's going to Pittsburgh, and Johnny Quick to the Rangers.
Did you hear the rumor? And that's all great. Did you hear the rumor about what the Pittsburgh Penguins are thinking about doing?
No.
Their new GM, Kyle Dubas, finally got the handcuffs off. He's in Pittsburgh. He's making these moves. He gets Carlson. There is a rumor. It's a very, very outskirt as far as the regular reporters and hockey rumor. But the rumor, and maybe this has happened already by the time we recorded, but the rumor is that they are thinking about signing none other than number 68, Jaromir Jagr, to a 1-year minimum contract at 51 years old. Now, keep in mind, he played 25 games last year with his team over in Slovakia, or Czech, and Czechia. And he put up, I think he is averaging like 0.75 points a game at 51. So I don't think he's going to be out there dangling like he did back in the 80s and 90s. But if he can go out there, bring some leadership, bring some namesake, coach some of the younger guys, give Sid a little bit of a break, and go out there and maybe play 8 minutes a game, why wouldn't you?
Oh, that's 100% morale booster right there. Yogs with the salad in the back.
Totally. The fans in Pittsburgh would love that. The league would love that. You have to do that.
There's not going to be a single man in the NHL with a bigger age gap between him and his girlfriend. Yogs is rolling in with like a 21-year-old supermodel.
Every single guy, whenever Pittsburgh comes to town, is going to be locking up their girlfriends when they know Jagr's in town.
You've seen the Dirt with Motley Crue, right?
Of course.
There was one rule. Do not leave your wife around Motley Crue because she will... Yes. Don't do that around Jaromir Jagr.
Movie's good, book is better.
We got Johnny Quick to the Rangers. We got Varlamov and Sorokin staying with the Islanders. And we got Laurent Brossoit returning to the Jets.
Back to the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, that one, sure. Why not? I mean, it sounds like Connor Hellebuyck's going to be sticking around. He hasn't been dealt yet, although that was the big rumor over the summer, him and Scheifele going. But it sounds like they're staying, and so you know that they get along. So that's good news.
Yeah.
So might as well. How do you feel about Quick going to the Rangers? I think he's got a shot at a cup.
It's weird. I mean, he beat the Rangers for a cup in 14. And he's a boyhood Rangers fan, boyhood Mike Richter fan, but I thought he was going to retire after the cup. But hey, he's hungry. He wants it.
Yeah, I thought he was too. I thought he said he was done.
Yeah, he's hungry. Have another one, fella.
Might as well.
Have another one.
One extra paycheck. The Swan Song gets one extra paycheck. Good for him.
He says ready, Boney's off. We got my boy Matt Murray. Now, this is a quick little side story here, and I know we kind of touched on it earlier, but so Matt Murray and I, we were just talking last week. He put me in touch with his personal life coach. His literal name is T.C. Cummings.
Okay.
It's his actual name, T.C. Cummings.
He did twice.
Yeah. He's a now retired Navy SEAL, 10 plus years. And I think him and I are going to be doing some work together, just kind of working on like what's going on between the ears, kind of help me become a better man. And that's full credit to Matt Murray, who I'm golfing with on Friday, which I'm very excited. So I guess by the time this episode goes up, we'll be done, and hopefully I don't destroy.
Do you remember my rules?
Just smack the ball once and move on.
Yeah, just hit the ball. If you hit it well, hit it again. If you don't, just pick up another ball out of your bag and move it close to wherever the best golfer is. Just drop a ball by them.
I got to give a shout out. My playing partner for the day with Matt is going to be Tim Tanner. He sent me a video yesterday. He's like, I'm practicing up. I'm shining up for Friday. He's like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be looking so good.
I've been playing EA Sports Golf. Tiger
Mario
Woods
Golf.
98. I'll be good.
But I just want to give it again a nice little shout out to Matt for hooking me up with TC and trying to help me just become a better athlete, better man, and help me through stuff that we've been talking about. But
well, good luck, man. Honestly, I think even admitting to yourself that maybe you need a little help in that, I think shows great maturity. I truly mean that, and I think that's a step closer to getting to where you want to be.
He's going to help in the career, help in the business, helping just becoming a better man for my mom, for future relationships, for just everybody, for you as well. No BS and just
well, I think you're a great man already. So whatever, anything on top of this is a bonus.
Well, we'll find out, I guess, when you bring me on the radio show on Tuesday, won't we?
Yeah.
So, but there's that. And we got a couple little side notes here. The UFC fight over the weekend, well, I guess last weekend, Poirer versus Gaethje, deadly head kick, KO. Seems like every time Dustin Poirer fights for the belt, he just gets swamped.
Yeah,
Mauled.
man. The UFC, it's one lucky punch can send you into stardom, as we've seen with a couple of Irishmen. But you know what? It's as an old friend of mine used to say, we're not exactly playing checkers in there.
Oh, you're literally playing body chess.
Yeah, exactly. And sure, he lost, but the fact that he got in there is something that not a lot of people would do. And he took a beating, but I mean, Gaethje is just a beast. Like, he's just a big, strong, powerful human being. I wouldn't want my worst enemy going up against that guy.
Or having like Charles Oliveira mount you and climb up to the top and choke you out.
Yeah, no thanks.
You know, I was talking to this girl actually yesterday. She was trying to get me to go to a ballet with her. And I said, I would love to. Reason being is hockey has taught me like the amount of precision, the details, and the intricacies in goaltending. Like, I know how difficult it is to be a good goaltender because there's so many things that you're missing. And although I don't understand football, golf, all these other things, I can appreciate that the amount of intricacy in there, the best of the best are the best for those reasons. So even like at a ballet in the UFC, I mean, the UFC is like 15 sports mixed into one with the the BJJ, the Muay Thai, all these other things, the kickboxing. It's I think the UFC is probably the most intricate, most detailed sport on the planet.
And if you look at some of the dark ages of what they had to go through when it first started, I mean, there was no weight classes, there was no rules. It was ugly. But sometimes you gotta make those mistakes to make sure you figure out exactly what you're doing right. Because I mean, if you would have launched a league the way it is now, it wouldn't have had the same impact as starting like in medieval ages. Like that attracted a crowd, and then the crowd stuck around when they got more organized.
I love watching the original UFC days when you got a guy in like a full-on gi, like the white, for those listening on the audio version, like a white
karate outfit,
a karate outfit basically, and you're gonna go fight a guy who's like kickboxing in like shorts and a beater, just like incredible. And like guys like Hoist Gracie that are tapping these guys out in like 10 seconds. It's just a gladiator of the late 90s, early 2000s.
It was a glorified tough guy, a tough man competition.
Yeah, basically.
And now that we have female divisions and weight divisions and belts and
some of those women are scary.
Oh, again, wouldn't want some of my worst enemies fighting some of those.
I think we might have talked about on the show last year. Some of the women that I train with, both in Muay Thai in Vancouver and at the BJJ here in Winnipeg, when you get worked by a woman who's 5'5", 150 pounds, and you're a 6'5", 220-pound male, it is incredibly humbling.
It's amazing how quickly you realize that your size and weight can be used against you with nothing more than just a little bit of leverage in the right spots.
And technique.
Yep.
Like you said, body chess. Right. So we had that. We had the Jake Paul-Nate Diaz fight, which I was shocked that Jake Paul beat him, and now he wants to go MMA for round 2, which I know you would love to see Jake Paul in MMA.
He's going to, well, listen, I will give Jake Paul credit. He has turned himself into a prize fighter. He's a boxer, but he's a prize fighter. If he really wanted to climb the ranks and actually take himself seriously as a boxer, then go through the WBA. Go up and get ranked and do all those things. But he's not in it to do that. He's in it to make money. That's all he's in it for. And God love him, that's what he's doing. So all the more power to him. The second he steps into that octagon, his day's done. Like, that fight will be over in the first minute. Nate Diaz will mangle him. Absolutely mangle him. And anyone that thinks otherwise, you're crazy.
A third-degree black belt.
Exactly. I mean, exactly like you just said, a 5'5" female being able to take down a 6'5" dude in a matter of seconds and get you twisted up into a pretzel. What do you think Nate Diaz is going to do with a boxer?
He's going to have his way.
Oh, it'll be ugly, and it'll be a waste of money when you're finished with that pay-per-view because it'll be over real quick.
Speaking of, do you see him make that one fan spill his drink on the way into the
Yeah,
fight.
and all he did was give him like the little head pump.
Yeah, if you're in the audio version, you'll have to just kind of picture it in your head. But if you're on the video version, there's a video of Nate Diaz walking down the tunnel for the boxing match. And there's one fan, I guess he's trying to like get his drink in Nate Diaz's face. And he turns around and flinches at him, and then you see the drink go flying like 10 feet in the air.
He's about to throw his hands up to defend himself.
Yeah, that's $15 right there. Right in the air.
Totally worth it.
But that was great. Speaking of worth it, the third and final sponsor for today's show, the team at Manscaped.com. So Manscaped has their beard hedger. It has 20 different lengths. It's incredible. 60-minute battery life. It's waterproof. It charges through a USB-C cable as well, so it's super fast charging. My beard, I just tapered up this morning before I came into the show with you. So you can get that Top G special, the Andrew Tate finish on the mustache, on the jawline, all that kind of stuff. It's really great. No nicks. Easy, clean to do. And you can pick up the Manscaped Beard Hedger from the link in the video description. Use the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT, for 20% off. That'll get you the best pricing on Manscaped, all products at Manscaped. And if you're on the Apple Spotify version, pull over and save to do so in the podcast notes. And again, thanks to our team at Manscaped.com for sponsoring the show as they have done for the last couple months. And I believe we are due for a new contract next month.
Speaking of new contracts, you're a one and done with Watertown?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's like it's a 1-year deal.
It's a 1-year deal, but I believe they would own my rights for 3 years.
Okay.
I believe is how it works. So like guys signing PTOs, you're owned for 3 years from the date of signing, but actually playing is on a year-to-year basis. It's weird. We had a guy that we signed an actual contract to, but I guess somebody signed him to a PTO first, so they got the rights to this player. And then they traded the rights, which doesn't make any sense. So how does a team trade a PTO of a player to another team and they hold his rights when we signed him to an actual contract? Not to criticize the league, but we do change the rule book quite often. Depending on any given day, it could change as well.
Well, like I said, interesting. The UFC had to start in the medieval ages and built into what it was. So while you're figuring things out, just make sure that the show is really good.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Do you have any goaltenders that are showing up to camp?
We have free agent camp. I think free agent camp's going to have 6 or 7 goaltenders. And then as far as the rest of camp goes, it's going to be me. I'm going to mess up the names, but we have this French guy. I don't know how to say his name. I'm not even going to try. He's just a very French guy.
Okay.
He's a goaltender. That's all I'm going to say.
A lot of apostrophes in his name?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't even want to try to say his name. We got him, me, Owen Liskowitz, who was with Watertown last year, and then we have Josh G., who played in the OHL last year for the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Okay.
And then we have another goaltender, Izzy Rasmussen. I can't remember his last name. Apologies, Izzy.
Will you chum up to these guys at all, and like make friends, or are you just like, no, I'm in my own zone, leave me alone?
Of course, it's for the greater good of the team. The team needs good chemistry, and the last thing we need, like in Motor City, is having one of the goalies having a beef or having a hard-on against one of the other guys. We have to be a cohesive unit.
No, I get that during the season, but I mean when you've got like you just rattled off half a dozen goaltenders there, so you're gonna chum up with all of them during training camp?
Of course, you have to. It's cultivating good vibes, and I really do think that if you're a bad teammate, that will shine through, and the players won't want to play for you. If you're a good teammate, the players will want to play for you. It's why the guys were so excited in Motor City last year when I came in, we beat Watertown. They're like, the guy that's been doing everything, filling the water bottles, being the biggest team player that we have, finally got an opportunity when we won. That's why they're so excited. And then if I do that again, I endear myself to my teammates and endear myself to the whole organization. They're going to want to play for me. They're going to want to help me out. It goes back and forth, and we just feed off each other. So I think it's absolutely essential.
Just because we're getting close to training camp and the start of the season, again, puck drop is only a couple months away now. I'm assuming...
No, 6 weeks away. 6 weeks.
I'm assuming that the YouTube is still going to be housing all of the games that you can watch for absolutely free?
Yes, you can watch all the Watertown Wolves games for free on YouTube. Home for sure. I think we might be doing away broadcasts as well, and they're free. They're streamed the night of the games, and you can watch them, again, for free, $0 on YouTube. So throw it on your TV, on an HDMI cable, on your phone, whatever, and you can watch it all for free.
Amazing. And when's opening day? Or actually, a better question is, especially on the vlog, when are people going to start being able to see actual training camp footage?
Training camp footage probably sometime end of September, beginning of October. Right now I'm just catching up on the 1 year living in Vancouver video. I got a review of my glove coming up next week. I got to do my 7 days across Canada by train video that I've been meaning to get to finally. And then the vlog stuff, the vlog announcement for getting traded to Watertown will come out, and then it'll be just all business from there on out. No more travel vlogs, no more reviews, just straight business.
And I believe on next week's podcast, we're actually going to have some audio of the visit that you made to my morning radio show, where we had you on talking a little bit about the life of being a hockey player / YouTuber / vlogger / podcaster. So we'll have a little bit of that audio on next week's podcast for those that don't have access to Energy 106 in the morning.
Yes, we should do the podcast for next week, and then at the end we'll give people an extra little bonus of the morning show.
Brilliant.
Live on the air.
Love it.
Here in Winnipeg. That's on Energy 106. Obviously, it'll be up before this episode goes live. But I just want to say thank you again to my incredible co-host, Mr. Dave Wheeler, for staying with me for now a full season, plus 2 more episodes. I don't know when we'll hit 69
I'm on a PTO.
episodes.
You got my rights for 3 years.
To the listeners, as always, for listening, if you're on the YouTube video version, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Dave and I are always in the comments chatting with you. If you're on the Apple or Spotify version, please leave a review. Let us know. We want to hear what you think about the show. Whatever it is, please reach out. And we do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in Winnipeg here in the Prairies, 9 in Calgary, 8 in the West Coast. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode and to seeing our incredible fans on opening night in Watertown, October 13th.
Early and often.
Have another one, fella. We're going. Ice is ready. Boney's off.